opportunity zones, basically you're trying to incentivize investors to come and develop property for the longer term, and they get tax breaks to do that.
Correct.
What's been the uptake so far in the investment community?
Actually, it's been very good. You know, I've had an opportunity to visit multiple places. Like there was a abandoned foundry in St. Louis, which was serving as the nidus for the opportunity zone there. And they were bringing in, you know, a supermarket and workforce housing. Down in Florida, excellent things going on, multiple places around the country. And what has really inspired me is every time I go and visit one of these, you know, they're both Republicans and Democrats there, and they're actually working together.
Do you have a read on like how much money has so far been developed?
At least $43 billion has been committed so far. You know, Secretary Mnuchin has estimated that it'd be about $100 million a year, and I think that's very realistic.
Is there going to be sort of a third step to sort of tweaking the opportunity zones to sort of, because I mean, one criticism is that it's only going to wind up benefiting sort of areas that are already going to be gentrified because of the fact that it's not the land value, but the value of the property that has to appreciate, and that's more of a gentrified area than lower income.
Well, I know people are saying that, but you know, we are constantly looking at things that can be done. Like, for instance, we're expanding the Section 220. In fact, this is the announcement right here. We're expanding Section 220 so that, you know, the lenders can be protected not only in the urban renewal areas, but also in the code enforcement areas, and then even some of the rural areas with their investments. And, you know, up to 30% of the gross income that comes in can now be from commercialized areas. So that will encourage grocery stores to come in. That will encourage places that can employ people to come in. So, and then in conjunction with this, we're doing things like enhancing Section 3 of the Housing Act, which says that if you're getting, you know, HUD federal money, that you have an obligation to hire, train, or give contracts to the low-income people in that area. It's been on the books for a long time, but it's hardly been used because it's so cumbersome. And we're removing a lot of the obstacles to using it. And in addition to that, we're working to remove a lot of the perverse disincentives for low-income people. People who are housing assistants, for instance, if they make more money, like they take one of these Section 3 jobs, they have to report that so that their rent can go up. Well, that's not a very big incentive. Or if you bring someone into the household who makes money, you have to report that so your rent can go up. Don't even think about getting married. So, you know, those are the kinds of things that really have kept people mired in poverty. So, you know, it's not just the opportunity zones. It's a whole bunch of other things that we're doing in tandem with that, focusing on the people themselves.
Well, and another part of that, maybe potentially, is sort of you're investigating Facebook, specifically into they have ads housing ads discriminating based on gender, race, religion, etc. Why Facebook? What have you noticed in the investigation? Sort of, are you wrapping in Twitter, Google, etc.?
Yeah, well, I can't go too much into the investigation except to say that, you know, they had these algorithms that allowed them to target certain audiences and exclude others. And when that is focused on housing, that violates the law. And we simply cannot allow that to happen.
Are you going to be investigating Google and Twitter also for something similar?
Well, we are looking at everybody on those platforms, and we will investigate everybody appropriately. But, you know, some people are starting to recognize that they have been on the wrong end of this and are voluntarily beginning to change their activities, and that's good.
To wrap it up, the developments that have happened, what's been the result so far in the community? What's been like the biggest takeaway for you?
The biggest takeaway at HUD, you mean? And the biggest accomplishment, I think, has been the fact that we now have financial controls. Because before I came for 8.5 years, there was no CFO. If you can imagine the billions of dollars, the tens of billions of dollars that flow through there, and it was horrible. And now, you know, Irv Dennis came from Ernst & Young's, 37-year executive.
Yeah.
And that's allowed us to put the right financial controls in. CIO has come in, and David Chow.
So you can run it like a business.
That's exactly what we're doing.